Hi, and welcome to Human in the Loop. This week, we're talking about how to know what AI has to say about your brand, your organization, your products, and maybe more importantly, what to do if the answer isn't what you hoped for. And if things look different, if you're a longtime listener and you're used to seeing Dear Abby, well, I'm still here. Abby is still here. And if you don't know who I am the founder of CTP Visibility Advisors. We specialize in reputation built for an AI era. I specialize in GEO, which is called Generative Engineering Optimization. So that party, the Dear Abby party is over, but have no fear. We're still answering questions that are in everyone's mind as we collectively make our way through working in an AI mediated world. So this week's question is sort of an aggregate of a few conversations I've had over the last couple of weeks. And the conversations have gone something like this. You know what, Abby? I take a lot of pride in understanding what drives my company's reputation. And for years, we've had the benefit of word of mouth. We get recommendations from our former clients, associates. When speaking with consumer brands, I've had a lot of conversations like people just love our products. But there's this sense of exposure. And there's this kind of follow-up component that goes something like, you know what? I also know that I can't rest on that. I have to understand what AI platforms are saying about my company and how my company is stacking up against competitors in those spaces. But to be honest, I don't even know where to start. How do I do this? Can I do one of those SEO assessments that I keep getting fed on all these ads? What else is out there? What do I do? So we're going to talk about this week. We're going to talk about this question this week, and we're not going to talk about the benefit of this work. Okay, if you're here, I'm going to assume and I'm going to congratulate you on understanding that reputation is an economic asset. It absolutely drives bottom line value. It deserves the same level of governance that other key components of your organization get and deserve because it helps you win consideration. It drives referrals. A great reputation allows you to command pricing premiums and attract better people to work with you. Um, you can't put a number on trust, and you earn greater trust when you have a greater reputation. And overall, all of these things create a stronger enterprise value. So we're not going to be talking and reinforcing these points. We're really going to get into the from to the nitty gritty of what has changed. Um, Back then, and back then was not that long ago, a lot of companies worked with or relied on quote unquote just word of mouth. And word of mouth, one could argue, was a component of social media as well. People were talking about products on TikTok and Facebook and all, a proliferation of channels. But basically, people that other people trusted would recommend you as an organization, a software, a product, fill in the blank. And people would talk about what it was like to work there. And you could ask a few friends, and it just kind of, as it says here, reputation kind of lived in people's heads. Now, today, it's very clear that trusted machines have joined the chat. And it is where these AI platforms, the LLMs, large language models, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Gemini, name your fave, they are where customers and journalists, analysts, potential investors, current investors, employees, they're all visiting these platforms and they're seeing who gets considered, who gets chosen in the answer. So effectively, the reputation has gone from people vouching for you to also machines vouching for you. Your reputation now lives in this data. It's called training data. Knowledge graphs is a fancy way of saying the information that you put out into the world on your website and other owned channels that you have. The bottom line, literally the bottom line here, is that your reputation is largely built on both what trusted humans have to say and what trusted machines have to say about you. So we specialize at CTP, we specialize in answering two questions. The first is, all right, how often are you chosen versus your competitors? And by chosen, we mean not just mentioned in a roundup or included as a host of options, but really chosen for the thing that you want to be known for. Whatever sets you apart, what differentiates you, the reason why people buy you, invest in you, believe in you, that's what we want to understand. And if that answer is not an A+ answer for whatever reason for you, then we talk about what you should do to address the gaps that exist. And we do that in a prioritized roadmap. We don't just do a bunch of audits for audit's sake or checklists, but we prioritize it and make the answer as human and as simple as possible. So very serious about managing the AI overwhelm that we're all facing. So I say that because this next visual, if you're watching along and not just listening along, this visual seems sort of overwhelming, right? And it seems like we would hit you with a ton of information. But the importance of looking at all of these inputs is that it provides a very comprehensive picture of the drivers of your reputation. So naturally, we're looking at search engines, we're reviewing your reviews, seeing what analysts have to say. We go across 4 major AI assistants in the vehicle that we have built. We look at Chat, Claude, Gemini, and Perplexity. Key directories for your industry are included. We do take a look at your backlinks, media coverage, the way your own knowledge, your own information is structured on your website, and other databases that might make a difference depending on what industry you're in. We take a look at those. And this is very importantly, I can't stress this enough, not an SEO audit. I get a lot of people who are confused because they've been targeted by advertising that says, we can tell you everything you need to do about your business because we can tell you what your website is or isn't doing. I urge you to take that as one component of a much larger picture that I just showed you. Yes, it's important to understand what your URL is or isn't doing, but you have to go well beyond that to really encompass what you are looking at and thinking about when you look at the total picture. So first and foremost, get this assessment, get a diagnostic, whether it's through us or somebody else, to really understand what the state of the state is, both for yourself and then in comparison to competitors. One thing that really sets me off, gets me really ticked off, is a number of providers are out in the market saying, okay, we can tell you everything that your competitors are talking about. And while that's important, that's not what you're about. You're not about duplicating creative or just bidding on the same keywords. That is not going to set you apart. That is not how equity is built. That's not why any of us got into this. We really want to look at the 3 to 5 competitors to understand and reinforce, again, your reputation, your differentiation. And if there are spaces where there is too much generic content, or your firm, your leadership is sort of invisible, then we land on that game plan I was just talking about. and it is one that is prioritized and, again, designed to not be overwhelming. So it includes the fast and the furious. What are the things that you can do very, very quickly that will move the needle in an effective way for you? We talk about longer term work like authority building initiatives or content opportunities, places where you might need to create some content to reposition or underpin your position as a leader. Some of that includes your owned media. Some of it can include earned media. So we can talk about also, after some initial work is done, getting out to media with what you're all about so that they understand you have the goods, you have the data. You see here number 5, to make it very clear that you're not like the other people and you are easily labeled as such, if you will. The nuts and bolts, the schema markup is there. And this is not a set it and forget it kind of thing. It is truly, when you think about your reputation, it's sort of like your physical health as well. It's something that you manage on a regular basis. And so you keep an eye on this. And we support you there, measuring how these indicators move, how your recommendation increases, if there are other moves that we can make to improve your competitive position. Fantastic. But I want to leave you with reinforcing the fact that SEO alone is not going to solve this. SEO is about getting clicks to your website, and then at your website, you want to think about conversion. That model worked for a very, very long time, and it's a part of this modern model, but it is not the model, full stop. So you want to look into this if you haven't already. You can do it on your own, go to some platforms and ask what they have to say about you, and do sort of just a quick gut audit. Notice what's accurate, what's missing, and begin to think about your reputation infrastructure. If you want a tool to help you do this that's free and it's a bit more comprehensive, visit our website, go to ctpvisibility.com, and under advisory, you'll see free visibility tool. And you can fill out your information. This tool only crawls Claude, so you will not get a dimensionalized comprehensive report here, but you'll get a flavor of what kind of information is available to you. And if you want to have a larger conversation about all of those buckets, doing this across multiple vehicles and really getting that game plan, you'll also see on the website in the upper right-hand corner a button to book a call with me. And the calendar pops right up. Pick a time that's great for you, and we'll make it happen. I'd like to thank you for understanding again the power and the value of reputation. I love the fact that the CTP community is one that just inherently understands that and how valuable it is to driving our business and driving trust among fellow humans. So thank you, and until next week, have a good one.